Hello everyone, this is Untitled Chapter. Welcome to another mod overview, this time on Ren Hider. A mod that simply adds in the ability for you to create special zones without the need of client rendering and ticks when you're outside of them. Otherwise, you need to use this command for a fair amount of things, and you do need this library in the mods folder along with the Ren Hider mod to make this work, or otherwise, yeah, the game will crash. And asks that you get it. Okay, interesting. So, first up, the Ren Hider Command. Just tabbing doesn't really make it that easy, I've found, so avoid doing that. You obviously want Ren Hider Help as your first command to use to give you all the other options. So obviously, we know that Help displays this help message. Create allows us to pretty much create a zone based on what we've used of the wand, so it's pretty much the finalization after you've already marked things out, so you can see with the space here that I was doing with a prior recording and testing. Otherwise, you can delete an ID, so I assume whichever one you've got, so this is probably ID 0 or 1, and then if I have another one, I can specify which one I assume. I haven't tested it yet though. We've got info, which displays information about it, which I assume is probably like the coordinates, or biome, or something like that. More so coordinates though, or which ID it is. Actually, no, you have to use the ID anyways for it. Either way, you got the list, which lists the owner, so whoever created it. Command center is default though, so you can use /all zones for if there's probably multiple owners. Otherwise, you've got cell, which clears the current one selection, and obviously you got the one for creating, summoning the wand for you. Now the wand has no recipe, and the only way you can get it is with that command, so there's that. I'm just going to get rid of this, I don't mind if that's been removed, that's fine with me. So we'll go Ren Hider, then we'll go wand. You can see it summons it in for us. We'll get rid of the mobs, because we don't need them making things awkward. And obviously, what I need to do is select here, and say here, for example, if I want to, for defining a space. Oops, what am I taking damage from? Hunger. Now I can see my past one here, it seems, but that doesn't matter. And it'll always show a filled in one. And you'll glitch out apparently if you're not careful as well, so that's not a good sign. And if it's deeper, I assume you can fall through? Maybe not, either way. So a single click will pretty much give you this blue one here, and if you sneak and click, you have access to point B, or location B, or the second position, basically, as they call it. So first position and second position. So obviously from down there to up here. If I go /Ren Hider create, you can see that that space is now considered, and if I remove this, you can see how much has now been removed. I jump in here. Okay, that's not what I wanted. So I can walk on this normally when I have the wand, but if I don't, do I face a different direction? Visually kind of confusing. So if I walk in here now, okay, so it's trying to go between the two. So my guess is you can use this as a way for either trapping people or for having like only a thing you can go through. Like maybe I guess you could use it in a secret room sort of way, where it's just like you've got a small doorway, you can go through it, but the others can't, or sort of like a reverse of that, I guess, where it's like, that's been taken up while the other hasn't. Obviously I'm in single player, so I can't tell if another player can see these as like, filled in versus not, but either way. So we'll go Ren Hider, and we'll go delete, and we've got something else, so we'll just go say 1. For example, zone 1 not found. So can we go zone 0? We cannot find that. We cannot find that either. We can go list though, and find out what it labels them as. So we've got those zones there, and dimensions as well. So dimension and the location points So the zones have a complicated number. That's fair enough. So if we want to actually remove them, we have to do 3, 7, that. Delete. So now we've completely removed that one. So that was number 1, that was number 0. And obviously we've got our 2 marked points, which I assume we can just leave them, because it doesn't really matter. So there's that, and we can just mark them wherever. From there, let's see, if we wanted to find out information about a specific one, we can go info, and we can do, I assume that of zone, actually no, zone, yeah, go to that one, so we go to this. Actually, we do have to do the complicated number for this. I forgot what that was, and I don't need help in there. So that is that, so that just tells me the information I already have compared to the list. It's just if you don't want all of them to be displayed, you can obviously find out the information of one in particular. And obviously if it's owned by someone else. And I don't know if that means that if you have access to these, or it's like only maybe only an admin can see some of these as well, I assume. Is probably the case for seeing who owns what and who's changed what. Let's see what else we've got here. And then sell. So we got Ren Hider, and then sell, and I assume that just does everything. Sell clears the wand. Oops, I've got a space in between there, that's why. So that just removes that. It doesn't remove this space because it's already been set up. So if I wanted to remove just the spaces of those and not just keep repositioning it somewhere, you can use sell for that, not for actually removing zones, because obviously that's what delete is for. If we just go here again, let's see, is that everything? Yes, so help, creating zones is obviously position to position, and then create to finalize it. Delete obviously deletes whichever one you want with a specific number, not just as simple as zone 1, zone 2, it's a complicated number there. Information to display it for that specific zone that you're after. Who owns what zones that are created or available to view, and obviously if you want to view all, I guess. Deleting the one selection points and giving you the wand, and that is it. Let's try this a bit deeper. For example, if I go here, for example, go right click, and then I go, how do I want to do this? That's there. And I just go up here, for example, and I go sneak. Oops, I go there. And then here, I can do Ren Hider create. And I can take up that space, and that's now gone. I can't exactly walk in it that easily. Can I throw items in here, though? No, because it's still a solid wall, so it's basically an illusion. Rather than, like, say, if I were to compare it to something, well, obviously not a 1.7, the closest I can think of would be something like, I'll just remove that for now, Magic Doorway, where obviously it allows you to, you know, go through spaces, but it's nothing like that. It's pretty much just an illusion, this mod, at least. So that allows you to walk through spaces, so you can't really do anything like that, it seems. It seems like you've more just got, the ability to have the illusion of spaces you've been to, removed for certain purposes. Now, can I put anything else in here if it's not a block? Like, can I put an item frame in here? That only just fills up the space over time, and not just, I can just right-click it as well. Interesting, okay. And that completely removes it afterwards. Interesting. Okay. Obviously there's a lot of different things you can do with this. It's more so, obviously, I assume, for planning purposes. So, say if you were using a command block to remove these spaces, or you wanted to use it for a quarry, I assume, you can use it to plan out your areas and see how much space is taken up, or what ores are behind certain walls or something, for example. Obviously, there's no spectator in 1.7, so that's also kind of tricky, even though you can't obviously see ores in spectator if they're stuck in solid wall like this. You can in through caves. But either way, if you wanted to plan out an area, I assume for a quarry or using commands for certain other things to clear out an area, then there's that. Because obviously this clears out things rather than fills in the space, I assume. Or I guess you could use it for filling in space, or seeing how much is considered. So if it wasn't, say, in this area here, I could have it on top of it, and it would be extra blocks considered, and seeing how high some structure will go, I guess, to make it easier, instead of using additional blocks from a certain height, and just having a pillar in the sky. You'd eventually just, you know, go from here to down here, and just fill in the gap here with an illusion or planned space. I guess you could use it for that as well. Just what I can think of using it for. Thanks so much for watching though, and goodbye.